Star State has had enough. Find out why.
And learn how you could pay the price if Russia invades Ukraine.
And the competition is heating up in the Texas primaries. Who are you voting for?
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV News at Noon.
Thanks for joining us on ntTV News at Noon. I'm Christine Guevara.
And I'm Ashton Cotton.
Tensions are still on the rise as Russia has yet to back down on their plans of invading Ukraine. In an address yesterday afternoon, President Joe Biden warns that fighting for democracy abroad may cost Americans at home. Cole Higgins for CNN has the details.
President Joe Biden is calling for diplomacy, but promising a rapid response if Russia invades Ukraine.
Will impose long-term consequences that will undermine Russia's ability to compete economically and strategically.
The president also warning against other means of attack.
If Russia attacks the United States or our allies through asymmetric means, like disruptive cyber attacks against our companies or critical infrastructure, we are prepared to respond.
All in the name of protecting Western ideals.
But the American people understand that defending democracy and liberty is never without cost.
In his address to the nation, the president acknowledging the consequences here at home.
There could be impact on our energy prices. So we are taking active steps to alleviate the pressure on our own energy markets and offset raising prices.
There are some signs of hope. The markets rebounded Tuesday on signals Russia is willing to take a diplomatic approach. The country announcing some of its troops will return to base after completing recent drills at the Ukraine border. The U.S. is working to confirm those claims.
We've seen this playbook before, and especially given the history of President Putin and the Russians, their history of false flag operations, of misinformation, we need to verify.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
It is still unclear if Russia will in fact invade Ukraine, but the president is confident that the U.S. will respond accordingly.
Even though Russian-Ukrainian conflict is thousands of miles away, Americans at home will still pay the price. Prices for essentials such as gas and groceries could spike if Russia proceeds. CNN's Amy Kiley has a story.
The forces the Russians have massed, they could launch at any point.
Ukraine might be far away, but a further Russian invasion there would probably cost you money here. That's because it's not so easy to export goods from a war zone. Here are 4 ways a Russian attack on Ukraine could affect you financially. 1. You might have to pay more for gas. Russia is the world's second largest producer of oil. Prices are already spiking. Some analysts say conflict in Ukraine could send them over $100 a barrel. Prices haven't been that high in 7 years. 2. Global food prices could increase. Russia is the world's top exporter of wheat. Ukraine produces wheat and corn.
If any conflict which disrupts those flows will help to only tighten agricultural markets quite significantly.
3. You might have to pay more in interest on your next loan. The Federal Reserve is already hinting it'll raise interest rates. Increased inflation could add to its motivation.
This is not a good situation. We have to reassure people that we're going to defend our inflation target and we're going to get inflation back to 2%.
4. You might take a hit to your stock portfolio. Markets fell Monday when the U.S. said it would close its embassy in Ukraine. Investors know the world economy is connected.
The whole world has become dependent on Russian petro money. We're all going to have a fundamental rethink of whether or not the price is worth it to be so dependent on Russian money.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Maxar Technologies has identified the construction of a new bridge in southern Belarus, just 4 miles from the Ukrainian border. Satellite images show the new pontoon bridge located just 14 miles away from the infamous Chernobyl that cuts across the river Pripyat and would lessen the time required to reach Ukraine from Belarus. It was built in a joint effort from Belarus and Russian forces.
You know, Christine, my electric bill has been skyrocketing lately. I think because of the cold winds that we've been having.
No, totally. I got plans tonight with my sister, and I'm hoping the weather will be okay when I go out. But I know our weather expert, Maya Nicholson, can give us some insight on that. Maya?
Thanks, Christine. Taking a look at our first look We have 43 degrees in Denton, Texas, feeling just above freezing, and high wind speeds of 21 miles per hour. Later on tonight, we should expect those temperatures to drop to about 36 degrees, feeling like 21, and our wind speeds kicking up even faster to 32. And tomorrow morning, we should expect even low temperatures at 25 degrees, and our wind speeds slowing back down to 7 miles per hour. Thank you, and back to the desk.
Thanks, Maya. 13 people were arrested following the trucker protest in Ottawa, Canada. The protest erupted earlier this week over vaccine mandates and COVID-19 restrictions for truck drivers crossing the U.S.-Canadian border. CTV's Annie Berjon Oliver has more.
Not too bad. Just delivered some messages from the Ottawa police.
20 days into what is being called an occupation of Ottawa, a stern warning from police.
In the blocking of the streets are committing a criminal offense and you may be arrested.
Notices telling protesters to go or face criminal charges are being hand-delivered and left on vehicles throughout the core. It's a sign many believe is the start of a final push to end the demonstration.
Whatever charges they want to throw at me for helping people, I'll gladly take. It's not going to deter me. You know, I'm not worried at all.
But protesters are determined and defiant, confident their continued presence near Parliament is leading to change, and that soon governments at all levels will listen to their demands and remove all vaccine mandates.
I feel like I'm a resistance fighter fighting against the Nazis in France. You know, they can threaten me whichever way they want. I won't back down because I know that what I'm doing is the right movement in history.
You guys are shameful, you know that?
The newly enacted Emergencies Act gives the RCMP, OPP, and Ottawa Police more powers to make arrests and to compel essential services like tow truck drivers to help clear the streets.
At the core of the movement is anger, animosity, and in far too many cases, violence. We're seeing it play at our borders, in front of our legislatures, our national symbols, and in our communities and in our neighborhoods.
Speaking at a press conference, convoy organizers denounced the use of the Emergencies Act and called for more supporters.
The more Canadians that come to Ottawa will make it harder for the government to get the police to follow their illegal order.
The Emergencies Act prohibits bringing children to the protests, something police have raised as a barrier to enforcement. Today, the Children's Aid Society of Ottawa sent a letter to protesters encouraging them to make alternate arrangements for their children in case of arrest. Annie Bergeron Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
The debate over mask mandates is changing across the nation. Find out why later in the show.
And do you need a ride to the voting polls? Up next after the break.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Let's get started. This is a motor vehicle. This is the blinker mechanism. To use it, push it up for the right blinker and down to go left. You're welcome. It was easy.
At a time when misinformation is all too common on social media, we take great pride in bringing you the news that matters, that impacts your family, news you can trust. Local broadcast journalists bring you the facts, covering the stories breaking in our community and across the globe. Text TV to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on local journalism. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
The state of Texas is suing President Joe Biden over the federal mask mandate for public transport. This lawsuit is quite a long shot since the mandate is one of Biden's key COVID-19 measures. In a statement, Texas Attorney General Bill Paxton says that this is a violation of U.S. law and is unconstitutional. Officials want the court to issue a preliminary injunction as well as a permanent injunction. The current mask mandates are set to expire March 18th and have been extended several times.
The CDC says new guidance on masks is coming soon, but many state and local officials have already decided on what to do about mandating masks. CNN's Alexandra Field reports.
We are all cautiously optimistic about the trajectory we are on.
Even with massive declines in the COVID caseload, there's no new guidance yet from the federal government for when and how to move away from masks.
We want to give people a break from things like mask wearing when these metrics are better, and then have the ability to reach for them again should things worsen. And we'll soon put guidance in place.
For now, the CDC says hospital capacity remains a top priority amid considerations for when to roll back restrictions. According to the agency, virus transmission is still considered substantial or high in 97% of counties nationwide. Even so, nearly every state is pushing ahead in the absence of new guidance. There are just 3 states left that have yet to announce an end to mask mandates. Local authorities are taking the lead, but after 2 years of deep divides over how to handle the pandemic, there are some irreparable rifts. Kaiser Health News reports Douglas County, Colorado, and the city of West Covina in Southern California are splitting from their public health agencies to form their own local departments. With Omicron's peak now behind us, Disney, Universal Studios Orlando, and Coachella all announcing they're dropping mask requirements. And the White House says the majority of Americans who ordered free test kits during the surge have finally received them.
85% of the initial orders are now out the door, and in the next several days, we will complete the shipping.
2 years in, the government has made available 230 million free high-quality masks. But with much of the country now locked in fierce debates over masks in schools, those masks for kids aren't here yet.
The government will be making high-quality masks available for kids. That process is underway.
Parents in Virginia will now be able to opt their children into or out of school mask mandates. Governor Glenn Youngkin signing that bill saying they are restoring power to parents. In New York, Alexandra Field, CNN.
As some states lift mask mandates, there is still one place that is keeping them in place: airlines. At the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, passengers are required to wear a face covering at all times in order to travel, causing some passengers to become disruptive and at times violent. The number of unruly passengers is growing, and now some airlines are calling for action by the Department of Justice. CNN's Pete Muntean has the story.
Faced with a man trying to open the door of an American Airlines flight, court documents say the flight crew turned to a coffee pot to subdue him. Police have now charged 50-year-old Juan Humberto Rivas with interfering with a flight attendant. This as even more unruly airline passengers are facing federal punishment. The FAA is now handing 43 cases to the Department of Justice so it can bring charges against those accused of assaulting fellow passengers and flight crews, both physically and in some cases sexually. If found guilty, they could face jail time.
The flight attendants who are working these flights have been punched, kicked, spit on, disrespected, and constantly under assault.
Sarah Nelson of the Association of Flight Attendants says the numbers are off the charts. The now 80 total cases referred to the Justice Department make up only 1% of the 6,480 incidents reported by flight crews since the start of last year.
Until we have people actually landing in jail and understanding that there's real consequences for acting out on a flight, we're not going to see these incidents go down.
Airlines have asked the Justice Department to keep unruly passengers from boarding flights in the first place, a move 8 Republican senators say should be up to Congress to decide. In a new letter, they insist most unruly passenger incidents are related to the federal transportation mask mandate. They say creating a federal no-fly list for unruly passengers who are skeptical of this mandate would seemingly equate them to terrorists. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says a no-fly list should be considered and more passengers should be put behind bars to keep numbers down.
There is no acceptable level of unruly behavior on aircraft, especially when it is not only disrespectful but dangerous toward flight crews and other passengers.
The possibility of a no-fly list is still in the works as the DOJ continues to work with other federal agencies. Now, you know, Ashton, this weather is getting out of control. I'm about to be blown away by this wind.
Yeah, hopefully the wind gusts won't be too strong after next week. But let's turn it over to our weather anchor, Maya Nicholson, to say on that. Maya?
Thanks, Ashton. Welcome back. Thanks, Ashton. Welcome back to our full weather forecast. Taking a look at our current conditions across North Texas, you can see in McKinney and the DFW area, they're sitting at temperatures right around the same as Denton. We're looking at our lowest temperatures in Gainesville and Graham at 37 and 38 degrees. Zooming out, looking across the state, we can see that our lowest temperatures are going to be in Amarillo and Abilene at 31 and 39 degrees. Finishing off with our 7-day forecast, we're going to see that our temperature is slowly going to rise till about Monday, where we're going to have some slight warm showers, and after that, those temperatures are going to drop back down to about the 30s. And that is it for our full weather forecast. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Maya. The 2022 Texas primary is right around the corner, and the candidates are well underway on their campaign tour. One candidate stopped right here in Denton to discuss his plans if he were elected governor. Early voting in Texas began on February 14th and will run until February 25th. Our own Andrea Valdez with ntTV has more.
Texas gubernatorial candidate Beto O'Rourke stopped in 12 cities across Texas to talk about his plan to keep the lights on in the state in response to the power grid failure during the 2021 winter storm.
This was the failing of the person in the highest position of power and public trust in this state.
His visit to Denton on February 6 was met with supporters and protesters alike as he tried to find a common ground to bring people together regardless of political affiliation.
I feel blessed that he's here. We're honored that he's representing the people of Texas.
I like being able to see a lot of people that have the same ideas and wanting to progress Texas the way we want it to be progressed.
He primarily focused on his plan to fix the grid, which consists of 5 steps. To winterize the power grid in Texas to withstand colder conditions, to connect the Texas grid ERCOT to the country's grid, to reduce utility rates so that money can go back to the people for other resources, to hold those who broke the Deceptive Trade Practices Act accountable, specifically referring to the spike in fuel prices during the event of an emergency, and appointing an independent market monitor for the state's gas supply.
We are going to find the best people in this state to make sure that we keep the lights on, that we reduce the rates that utility payers are paying, and that we ensure that we never have a grid collapse again.
Although the event was to discuss how he would fix the power grid in Texas, Beto also talked about his views on issues like education, healthcare, and providing a livable wage for Texans.
These issues, the grid, public education, jobs, seeing a doctor, that's what can bring a very divided state together and allow us to find the common ground to move forward.
For ntTV News, I'm Andrea Valdez.
Christine, have you decided on voting in Texas primary elections in the upcoming weeks?
Oh, I'm definitely going to start voting soon, but I think I might need a ride going to the polls.
Well, you are in luck because DART is offering trees transportation for public voters. Here's Cameron Bias with more.
Thanks, Christine and Ashton. Voting never could have been easier as DART is offering free transportation to the polls on Election Day, March the 1st. That means all DART buses, trains, the Dallas streetcar, and even the app GoLink are free for voters. Anyone interested in DART transportation can schedule a ride using the trip planner at www.dart.org or call DART's customer service line at 214-979-1111. Voters can also access a ride to the polls through the GoLink using promo code VOTE22. To find voting locations in your county, visit vote.org. That's all I have for now. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Cameron. After the break, the happiest place on earth is closer than you think.
And if leafy greens are your favorite vegetable, get ready to celebrate this holiday.
Borrowers facing thousands of dollars in student loan debts may not have to worry much longer. The Education Department announced on Wednesday that they have canceled another $415 million of student debt. The money is meant for students who were misled by for-profit colleges and are eligible for relief, but we're still waiting for traditional paperwork to be processed. So far, the department has canceled $2 billion of debt from 100,000 borrowers. The Education Department has approved $16 billion in federal student loan discharges from borrowers in total.
Instead of leaving home to visit theme parks, you could one day live in a Disney-branded community.
That is right, Ashton. And as a huge Disney fan myself, I would love to hear more about how I could live in the happiest place on earth. Road Trip to Texas's Tony Fletcher has more.
That's right, Christine and Ashton. If you're someone who's obsessed with all things Disney, then you'll love this new development. The Walt Disney Company plans to develop a Disney-branded community. The community will be a part of a story living by Disney. There will be perks like Disney cast members providing guest services and live entertainment. The communities will be built in Rancho, California. As for now, there is no set prices, but homeowners of all ages are welcome. Part of the neighborhood will be designated for those that are at least 55 years old. Back to you, Christian and Ashton.
Thanks, Tony. It's time to trade in your chocolate hearts for leafy greens because Valentine's Day is over and there is a new holiday in town. National Cabbage Day. February 17th marks the occasion to celebrate the vegetable that has brought to the U.S. in 1541 by French explorer Jacques Cartier. The crunchy cultivar is a diverse food used in many different dishes across the world. Some vegetables like Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, are really just other types of cabbages. Cabbage are great sources of many healthy nutrients, so be sure to head down to your nearest grocery store and celebrate today.
All right, Ashton, it's basketball season. Are you ready?
You know, I've kind of been busy with school, so I haven't been caught up on my basketball. But I do know our sports anchor, Sebastian Nava, can tell us all about it. Sebastian?
Thanks, guys. You're right, basketball season is picking up steam, and I've got all the latest info for you. The Maverick season is well underway. UNT men's basketball team is preparing for a tough tournament, and more on the Beijing Olympics. Stay tuned for more after the break.
I'm Kennedy, the president of Black Film Club, and what I love about BFC is the atmosphere and the members. The family feel that we have in our club is really genuine. What about you, Bree?
My name is Bree. I'm the vice president of Black Film Club, and what I love about Black Film Club is there is a small but close, like, little family. You know, I feel like a lot of times when you go to a PWI, it's hard to find like a black community that share the same interests in you. So I'm very blessed and grateful to have, you know, found my family.
What I would say I like about Black Film Club is obviously the environment that it sets for everybody. I love the officers. I've been rocking with basically all of them since day one, since freshman year. We all came in here at the same time, all got involved with Black Film Club at the same time. So it's been a nice like community to grow with, and then seeing like new members come, seeing them get interested, seeing how they like Black film. Teaching them what we can teach them before we leave, and giving them the mantle to take over.
That was a really good movie.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, so we have to watch the next one before next class, right?
We do?
I think so, but it's not on Netflix and it's not on Hulu, so...
Man, I don't want to pay for that.
So what do we do?
You think there's a place we could go to get the movie?
I'm not sure, maybe?
Oh, there's a place to get the movie.
Oh?
Really?
Yeah, it's right here on campus. Come on, I'll show you.
Tonight, the Dallas Mavericks are in the Big Easy to take on the New Orleans Pelicans. The Mavericks are coming off a gritty win against the Eastern Conference second-seeded Miami Heat. The Heat entered the game on a 5-game winning streak, but that meant nothing to the visiting Mavericks, who finished the game with 5 players in double-digit scoring. Luka Doncic led the way for the Mavericks with 21 points and 10 rebounds. The game versus the Heat saw the debuts of newly acquired Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans from the Washington Wizards. Dinwiddie came off the bench to play 23 minutes and contributed 4 points, while Bertans played 12 minutes off the bench and put up 13 points. The Mavericks will take on a Pelicans team who are looking to end a recent skid after losing 3 of their last 4 games. The game will tip off tonight at 7 p.m. Well, while we look forward to watching our nightly basketball, you would have to stay up pretty late if you want to catch the latest from the Beijing Olympics. The United States currently has 21 medals in total, 8 of which are gold, putting them in 4th place behind the Russian Olympic Committee, Germany, and 1st place Norway. The United States had a chance earlier this morning to earn another gold medal when its women's hockey team took on longtime rival Canada. Canada had ended the match with the top 7 scorers who contributed to scoring a tournament-high 56 goals. But the United States looked to repeat the magic from the 2018 Olympics when they defeated Canada in a shootout to claim gold in Pyeongchang. But the Americans barely stood a chance this match after going down 3-0 in the beginning of the second period. After a late comeback attempt, the match was over and the USA was forced to settle for another gold medal or another silver medal after losing 3-2. Well, that's all for Half of Sports. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Sebastian. And thanks for watching ntTV News at Noon.
I'm Ashton, and join us again here tonight on North Texas Television.